Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TrueLife News Show. Today, guys, Trump and Elon are making a big, bold play right now in Congress. We just had a huge interview today. J.D. Vance hinted that right now, they still don't know who they can fully trust within Congress, within the government. And every time Trump does certain things, we are seeing them reveal themselves, especially the rhinos. And this is amazing because he said, we have seen so many people side with the Democrats that we thought were truly on our side. But what we now know is that our team is getting smaller and there's people that we have to replace. Guys, this is big. This is huge. He said, with the tariffs, it's been monumental what we found. And he said, you won't believe it, but right now, there's a coalition of GOP representatives that are trying to combat against Trump and trying to remove some of the tariffs. And they're doing it also in the Senate. So people are revealing themselves, guys. Trump is a genius. Elon Musk is a genius. They're playing chess while everyone is playing checkers. Because think of it like this. Even a modest 10% universal tariff would lead to $728 billion in economic growth in a year, 2.8 million new jobs, and generate $263 billion in new revenue to pay for the tax cuts. J.D. Vance confirmed it's all a part of the plan. Trump spent the last 4 years figuring out how to make this country better, but also how to weed out the rhinos and the people that would backstab him like they did in his first term. This is amazing. He also said Elon Musk is here to stay. He's going to stay on as an advisor to the president once he leaves Doge. So a lot of people are saying Elon Musk has been fired. No, it's not true. We heard it from the VP himself. We also have very big news on this, guys. Listen in. Multiple evidence of voter fraud has been caught in the last elections held in Wisconsin this week. We knew it. And now we have actual evidence. I would not be surprised if they overturn this Supreme Court race. It's not over yet because the evidence was planned. We literally have messages saying we need to make sure that there's only enough ballots that she wins by 52%. If it's more than that, they're gonna suspect fraud. Guys, this is huge. This is what you get with vote by mail, no voter ID, and then this is what happens when you see in the middle of the night, say 2, 3 a.m., thousands of ballots coming in. We are not done with this Wisconsin race yet, guys. We got also some amazing more Doge cuts that are on their way. Listen to this. They cut $250,000 of your taxpayer monies from being used to erect LGBTQ plus historical markers across Ohio, which I'm super surprised because, this is only like in the past decade. I didn't know that was very historic. They cut $400,000 for the University of Tennessee to study LGBTQ plus library users' metadata. $6.7 million for the California State Library to enhance equitable library programs. Last time I went to the library, they didn't ask me anything but, hey, you got a driver's license? You want a book? Here you go. Guys, we got a ton of breaking news to get into today. Trump, Vance, and Elon are on a warpath and they're making things happen. I want to say thank you to all of our subscribers, all of our viewers. If you're not subscribed, please consider joining our TrueLife News family. I want to say thank you to everybody that is a member, guys. I'm so thankful that we have so many people that are willing to support us as not only we grow this community, but we give back to charity live on stream. You see us do it. I want to say thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. Me and my family are so grateful that we're continuing to grow, giving back every single month. It's amazing. I want to give some love to Woodbury Hill Studio. Dang it. Right there. Check that out. A true oil painting of the moment that Trump was almost assassinated. Got it hanging up there, repping it. Y'all show Woodbury Hill Studio some love in the chat. Want to say, guys, this is a big, big day. Trump has just changed the United States for the foreseeable future, I say at least a decade, People are going nuts, but what I love is America is winning because so many countries are already bending the knee. Check this out.
Happy Liberation Day.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long...
Oh, and sorry, I hate to say it, but guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support.
Time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again.
Today, Donald Trump fundamentally changed the country as we know it. This is the biggest shift in economic policy since World War II, when we liberated Europe and Asia. 47 says we're now liberating ourselves from globalization.
Our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike. American steel workers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen, we have a lot of them here with us today. They really suffered gravely. They watched in anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence.
After we saved Europe from Hitler and Asia from the Emperor, we created a free trade system to help the Allies' economies recover, and they'd help us contain communism. And life was great for American families. Wives didn't have to work if they didn't want to. You could own a nice home, have a big family, afford college on a decent salary, and your kids could have a better life than you. The United States finally won the Cold War, gave birth to globalization, and then other countries, even our allies, took advantage of us, took advantage of a system we designed to save and protect them. China, a country we basically created, became an absolute menace, and American multinationals conspired to ship jobs and factories overseas and decimated the middle class. If you're one of those workers of the last 40 years, free trade basically destroyed your life. Look at this chart. The top 50% of income earners, especially the top 10%, accumulated a massive amount of wealth.
Woo!
But the other half of the country, the bottom 50% of earners, have been suffocating at the bottom. The American dream has been dying, and politicians said there's nothing they could do about it.
And I just want to show you guys because this is so important. I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're Republican. What you see here in this chart is the facts that under both Republicans and Democrats, the lower class, the bottom 50%, have seen nothing, no growth. This is what I'm talking about. The biggest growth started when? 2010, huge spikes up. Who was president? I'm telling you guys, we are at an inflection point and America is about to change forever.
Some of those jobs of the past are just not going to come back. That he's going to bring all these jobs back. Well, how exactly are you going to do that? What are you going to do? There's no answer to it.
You
He just says, well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal. Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that?
Tariffs.
What magic wand do you have? And usually the answer is he doesn't have an answer. But they're going to have to retrain for the jobs of the future, not the jobs of the past.
Mr. Hope and Change is like, sorry, I'm the most powerful man in the world, but there's nothing I can do. Washington's done nothing for 40 years, except open the borders, let industry leave, and spend, spend, spend. Could it be that there was a magic wand this whole time, and Barack just didn't know how to use it?
Somebody said, well, what would you do? What can you do? So easy. I drop a 25% tax on China.
Ooh.
And, you know, I said to somebody that it's really the messenger. The messenger is important. I could have one man say, we're going to tax you 25%. And I could say another, listen, you mother, we're going to tax you 25%.
What?
Trump's been talking about winning trade wars since the 90s. He raised tariffs. And
I got it, guys. You got to appreciate. Hold up. I got to show you. You got to appreciate that man right there who said what he just said. You got a guy like Obama, we want to tax you 25%. And then you got a guy like Trump who says, brother, laying the smackdown on everybody that's taking advantage of us. And that's what you do with the fighter who almost got assassinated, stands up. That's a real fighter. That's a president. If you appreciate this, guys, please hit that thumbs up like button. I am loving what we're seeing.
First term, and we had the highest wage growth in 50 years, a manufacturing renaissance and a hot stock market. Oh, and no inflation. And this term, he's going even bigger.
China, first row. China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. We're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office.
Americans have been demanding fair trade for years. So if other countries tax our products, we're just going to tax theirs. But Trump's giving everybody a little bit of a discount. 10% tariff across the board, and then just a cut under what they charge us. That's a negotiation tactic. Get other countries to drop their tariffs to where we have them, and then it's equal. That's called fair trade. But we're going to fight harder against foreign cars. Trump announcing a 25% tariff on all autos from other countries, and the workers love it.
Yes.
I've watched plant after plant after plant in Detroit and in the Metro Detroit area close. There are now plants sitting idle. There are now plants that are underutilized. And Donald Trump's policies are going to bring product back into those underutilized plants. There's going to be new investment. There's going to be new plants built. And the UAW members, and I brought 20 of them with me, they're sitting right over here. We support Donald Trump's policies on tariffs 100%.
If you care about the forgotten men and women of this country, if you care about restoring the American dream, Trump says you got to be all in on the trade war. But since he's the general of the war, Democrats who claim they represent workers are against it.
Donald Trump is preparing to take a sledgehammer to the American economy by preparing a tsunami of tariffs on all sorts of goods Americans purchase every day. A tsunami of tariffs. Let's be clear. Donald Trump's tariffs are a tax hike on American families.
Wall Street money put Schumer in the Senate, so he's just a puppet.
All
Schumer and company drove up prices to 40-year highs. They've been raising taxes for decades. The man who was complicit in hijacking 100,000 American factories and losing 5 million jobs overseas can shut up, with all due respect.
Let me tell you this, guys, because let me tell you this. That man right there that stood up for that, he is a man of his own self, his own mind, his own heart. You want to see people that are bought? You want to see people like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, who before they got paid, what they sounded like? Because I'll tell you this, they sounded a lot like Trump. 1996, Nancy Pelosi.
How far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker? And how much more dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo?
Almost 30 years. That was 1996. Said by Democrat Nancy Pelosi. What are they saying now? Oh, Trump is trying to tear down the country. Trump is trying to mess everything up. He's doing exactly what they said they would do back whenever they weren't bought by lobbyists or big money. Guys, this is the receipts. These are the facts that these people are puppets now. But you know what? It's very hard to make a billionaire a puppet. Why do you think Elon Musk and Trump can't be bought and they're their own people?
He destroyed American industry. That's why we call it the Rust Belt. That's why Trump was elected twice, to stop Schumer's gang from carving this country up. The media says Americans can't afford tariffs. We can't afford not to have tariffs. We created a monster in China. They dump cheap products here. They steal our secrets. They poison us with drugs. And they killed 1 million Americans with a virus. Trade policy should align with foreign policy. The pandemic proved this country isn't even self-sufficient. We have to start making our medicine here.
Yep.
And if we want to build ships and icebreakers, they have to be built with American steel, not cheap subsidized steel dumped here from China. And if we're going to win the AI arms race, we can't rely on Taiwan for semiconductors. We got to make the chips here. If we don't protect our economy, we can't protect our national security, and we can't protect American lives.
The United States can no longer produce enough antibiotics to treat our sick. We import virtually all of our computers, phones, televisions, and electronics. We used to dominate the field, and now we import it all from different countries.
Right here, guys, I do want to show you something again, too. And I know we're doing the show a little bit different. It's just there's so much that has happened. So much breaking news, so much potential scandals, lawsuits that are about to happen. You look at Trump right there. I want to show you something. Because this is manipulation. This is trying to make Trump look a certain way when it comes to the media. A lot of people are saying this is wrong. Look at this. On the screen, what you are going to see, CNN is on the right and Fox is on the left. Look, what is the difference in color that you see? Why do you think they're trying to pin and make more things to make fun of him, calling him the Orange Man, showing it to their people because it's their agenda that the Orange Man is bad, when it's clearly them manipulating the views of how somebody watches the television? Like, guys, this right here is now sparking a potential lawsuit from Trump saying, look, you're always trying to make me look a certain way, and then you say things that are that I could use a defamation lawsuit against you. Look at this difference. CNN on the right, Fox on the left. Guys, little things like this matter because it's all trying to manipulate how people think of Trump.
A single shipyard in China now produces more ships every year than all of the American shipyards combined. Think of that. And it was a business that we used to dominate. We used to dominate it totally. In short, chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency.
America used to be an industrial powerhouse. It's how we won World War II. We beat the Germans and the Japanese on opposite sides of the planet at the same time. And what made us such an industrial powerhouse were tariffs. Is America an industrial powerhouse anymore? No. We can't win 2 wars at the same time anymore. So in order to rebuild, we need to have protection from foreign predators. And our trading partners and neighbors need us more than we need them. Canada was just playing a silly little game of chicken until they realized Trump was serious.
Boom.
And now they're announcing they'll lower their tariffs if we lower ours.
We'd be willing to take those off tomorrow if he took all the tariffs off. We are not the problem, Andrew. Do you know the problem is? China's the problem. We have all
now China's the problem. Guys, remember, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So now, with Canada is trying to say, look, we don't want to be your enemy. We don't want the focus on us as the enemy. So let's focus on China because they're the real bad guys taking advantage of the U.S. Let's go together. Let's work together because China's the bad guy, which I'm not disagreeing. But still, Canada is taking advantage of us as well.
Neighbors need. We have the energy that our big neighbors need. We don't want tariffs. He knows, and Secretary Lutnick knows that we're willing to take these tariffs off like in the next minute if he said he's taking their tariffs off.
Mexico says they won't go tit for tat on tariffs with Trump. Israel's removed all tariffs on American products. Vietnam just cut duties on gas and cars. The world got called out, and they're starting to fall in line.
Oh, yeah.
$3 trillion in private investments poured into this country since Trump announced the trade war. And that's more money than Biden spent on chips, infrastructure, and the Green New Deal combined. And he spent your money. And what did he build? Nothing. Build back better? Never happened. Bidenomics, with open borders, outsourcing, and record spending, was throttling this country to the brink of a recession. This administration says they're rescuing the economy from a recession. Well, the stock market can't get a handle on any of this because they don't know if Trump's tariffs are long-term or just a negotiating tactic. And companies need to plan years ahead. But Wall Street's going to be fine. And everyone's investments are going to be fine long term. This is an administration focused on Main Street, not Wall Street. The same people complaining about tariffs never complained once when the middle class got savaged by other countries.
In the coming days, there will be complaints from the globalists and the outsourcers and special interests and the fake news always.
Guys, if you appreciate our president, please support us. Hit that thumbs up like button, because what we're about to show you next, it gets even deeper.
Fake news will always complain, but never forget, every prediction our opponents made about trade for the last 30 years has been proven totally wrong.
Fair trade isn't a silver bullet. It's a part of a bigger package. Tax and regulation cuts, cheap energy, border security, Doge, and spending cuts, if Congress can get its act together. Tomorrow, when you look at the Dow, it might not feel so liberating, but neither did the day after D-Day. Eventually, we won.
Boom. Guys, let me tell you this. What is being revealed right now, and I love it, guys. The new oil painting that Woodbury Hill Studio did for us, that's a real painting right there. Real painting, hand painted. Appreciate them so much. The real crime is this right here, what you're seeing on the screen. And this is being called out, not just on the Democrat side, but now a ton of Republicans are being called out. Trump's not playing around. There's no way that in a matter of a couple of years, you make $174,000 a year, that you're now worth $9 million, and you got 3 homes all worth almost $2 million a piece. Doesn't happen without there being some of this being thrown in your pocket, but it's from these lobbyists, it's from these people that are trying to control and buy these lawmakers. Mr. Tracy J. Norby, let's go with the super chat. He said, if you love America and love the True Life News family, give it up, a part of yourself for seeing the good in us all. We need to give up a hand, not a bunch of hands out to the ones who defraud us. We need America to come back 100%. Let's go. And Jim Arnold, thank you so much for the super chat. And Marilee Williams, hey, if you got a free membership from Marilee Williams, who gifted 5 True Life News memberships, show Marilee some love in the chat, as well as Jim and Mr. Norby, as well as GL Poffreeman. Guys, y'all are amazing. What we're seeing now, guys, again, the lies are, I've heard it even from people, guys, in my church small group, said, hey, man, I heard Elon Musk got fired. Nope. Musk is not leaving yet. He's wrapping up the work on schedule, and this is big because he cannot leave, and he said he would not leave till the Doge work is done. We got too much, and we got even from the leading report who came out, everybody, and said J.D. Vance confirms Elon Musk will stay on as an advisor to President Trump once he leaves Doge. So there's still a lot to do, guys. There's still a lot going on. It's just they're trying to grab at straws right now. The Democrats are trying to throw anything and everything at the wall to see what sticks to try to get the news. Guys, some of these Democrats are so pathetic. In Georgia, guys, this is happening all across the United States. But in Georgia, they staged a walkout of the chambers. Georgia House Democrats leave the chambers to protest the Republican bill to block taxpayer dollars being spent on prison inmates for gender-affirming care. Meaning they wanted to transition either to a man or a woman, wanted to do it on your tax dollars, and they staged a walkout. To me, this is pathetic. This is them showing they care more about people in prison using your money. And guys, these surgeries are not cheap. You're talking about tens to sometimes even $100,000 to get stuff done. This is the stuff you don't see on mainstream media that's happening in our states, guys. But this is why lots of polarization that's happening, but we want to make sure that you see the truth. And again, Trump's not playing around. Check this out.
But I think they're realizing that Trump means what he says. When he says he's going to close the border, he's going to close the border. When he says he's going to deport people, he's going to deport people. When he says he's going to take on these judges about judicial supremacy, he's going to do it. When he's going to break the law firms, he's going to do it. When he's going to take on these universities, he's going to do it. I can go on and on and on and on. When Donald John Trump says he's going to do something, he's not just spouting off. They treat it like he's spouting off. Since he came on the scene, let's say in 14 or 15, so we're 10 years into this, a decade into this, they still don't understand anything about him. They don't give him the common decency or courtesy of actually trying to understand what he says, what it means, and how it all fits together, because it all fits together quite brilliantly. And the European elites just thought they could outlast him, or thought, hey, the Americans, you know, all the guys in MSNBC, they're there, the Atlantic Council, they're all being on our side. The party of Davos just got to wait this out. Now they're in bad shape. They're not going to be under, not having their defense paid for by you and your kids. And they're not going to let them rip them off on trade. Sorry, not sorry. European elites are in for a very bad run. I don't know. You think a couple of those governments could be overthrown by the populist right in elections? Let me thinking. Yeah, I think so. Because they've been exposed for exactly what they were. Remember, all those governments are just kind of follow-ons from the aristocracy that really didn't get taken out in World War I. And I'm about as big an anti-monarchist as you can get. I think aristocracies throughout history have proven time and time again just to be for their own self-interest. And not for the interest of the people, not for the interest of their nations, and certainly not in the interest of God, although they covered that up and had a lot of symbolism associated with that, but not real meaning, not real impact, not real actions. So that's what you're saying. That's what Europe is. It's just a monarchist reactionary to the sovereign will of the people. What are we asking for? Bring manufacturing jobs back so people can work long hours and productive jobs that they love and they're happy with. Mm-hmm. They feel they're fulfilled, and they know they've got a future for themselves and their families. Not a big ask, is it? For a country that's created more wealth than anywhere in the world, that's freed more people, that have more dead and more foreign battlefields, that bailed the frickin' Europeans out time and time and time again. When they get in their messes, we got to go back. Countries that kicked us all out. Think about that. They kicked every one of your parents out, virtually. Grandparents, great-grandparents. You hear them pining for the old country? Not so much. Because in the old country, they got screwed. Mm-hmm. So they'd rather come here. You ever been across the American West? And think about, my God, what must have been their life to do this? Think about it. And they're going to sit there, and their great-grandchildren are going to be taken advantage of by the same elites running Europe, and they want to be bailed again. And today they're whining, screw you. Don't want to hear you whining. We're not bailing you out anymore militarily, and we're not going to bail you out economically. Oh, by the way, let me add as a side note, Zelensky's making a big deal, and Harnwell's going to talk to you in the next hour if Brad gets him in, about the Trump advisors now realize they're being sucked into a morass because they're dealing with the Ukraine. Screw the Ukrainian leadership. I don't care what they have to say or what they want. Either sign the economic deal or don't. We don't want it signed. We'd love to walk away. But sign it today as is or walk away. Just like in Europe. Don't sit there and tell me, we're great allies. You're not great allies. We've bailed you out every time of messes that you got in because you're elite leadership.
And guys, I'm telling you, Steve Bannon was Trump's strategist in the first term. He was there last night, talking with Trump's team, Trump's cabinet. This guy knows what he's freaking talking about. I love it. And what I love is the transparency. We're getting these tidbits of what actually is going on behind the scenes and how they really feel.
Because of what you got into. And now we got to face the Chinese Communist Party, which you're going to rub up. The other day, people saying, well, on the university professors, these guys getting laid off the bureaucracy, well, we'll just get research money from the Chinese Communist Party. Try it, I dare you. I'm hearing this from these researchers. Oh, they're going to cut us off the Ivy League schools or the state land-grant Ivies. Bannon's big talk. We'll get it from the Chinese. Yeah, you will. We'll throw you in frickin' prison. You going to trade with the enemy? Big talk? Shows you how much they love this country, right? Let's just do it all, and let's have a great unmasking. Let's see who's with us and who's against us.
I told
That's
you
what
guys.
this is about. Anybody supporting Trump's on our side of the football, including you had all the union folks there yesterday that backed Trump, UAW and others. Let's have a great unmasking right now, just like in the pandemic was kind of a preamble. The great reset and build back better. Hey, we're building back better here. We got a plan. We're building back better. Don't like it? Leave. Here's how much empathy I have with you. None.
I told you guys, they are dropping like Trump. Oh, I just love seeing that in the back, guys. I love seeing the painting, Woodbury Hill Studio. No, what I love is that, again, they're dropping the hints. Trump and Elon Musk are playing chess. They knew what I'm about to show you. They knew this was going to happen. They put people in place to what I'm about to show you right now, guys. So everybody's calling out the election fraud right now. Everybody is calling this out, that we did not lose this race. And it's all being posted all over X. Look, here's some of the evidence that is coming out from some very, very reputable people. Look at this. In these messages right here, this was sent prior, said, the need to wait till all other counties complete their votes to assure the number we need to make sure of the lead, not to exceed 52% for the lead. Here in Dane County, I can promise the desired outcome. With the usual large number, no one will know if we need to add more in the end. Also, our judges know the importance of this election. It will shield us from any questioning or on counting. We knew it, guys. We have had people on the ground looking for this stuff. Grand scale across the board, showing that something was happening behind the scenes, something was going on with this election, and now the investigations have started. We got this evidence of planned election fraud using extra ballots dropped based on votes tallied to get the Democratic win in the Wisconsin race. We knew it, guys. We knew it was going to happen. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, thank you so much for your support. Want to say thank you so much, Joanne Smith, for the super chat, and Mr. Tracy J. Norby, who said, thank you all who has and will give up part of themselves. I enjoy the family support being shown here. Y'all show Mr. Norby and Joanne some love in the chat, as well as April Green, who said, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Amen. Homegirl dropping the scripture, guys. That's powerful. Y'all show April, Mr. Norby, and Joanne some love in the chat. Because what you're about to see next, guys, we're seeing what is actually happening behind the scenes. There's so much lies going on, guys. That's why I'm here. I got to make sure that we not only show you what's going on, but we show you the receipts on everything that they're saying. Check this out.
Last time we had a one-on-one was in your house. So you weren't vice president. Yeah, right. you were auditioning. You were the only candidate that said if you didn't get selected, you would be disappointed. Well, you got accepted. So congratulations, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you.
Let's talk about some of the issues that matter to the American people.
Sure.
And it's the president's new tariff policy. And when I think about what he got elected on is bring the cost down for people, but also bring manufacturing back to the country.
That's right.
These are gonna kind of hit each other, right? Explain to us how you get manufacturing here, but also get the cost down for the American people.
Well, if you go back a little bit, Lawrence, remember during the first Trump administration, everybody said that Trump's tariffs were going to be inflationary back then. What actually happened? We had 1.5% inflation. We had the fastest growing economy in a generation, and we had the beginning of a manufacturing renaissance in the United States of America. Then, of course, we had 4 terrible years of the Biden administration. But I think it's useful for all of us to step back and ask ourselves, what has the globalist economy gotten the United States of America? And the answer is fundamentally it's based on two principles: incurring a huge amount of debt to buy things that other countries make for us. And to make it a little bit more crystal clear, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity. It's not a recipe for low prices, and it's not a recipe for good jobs in the United States of America. For 40 years, we have gone down that pathway. We've seen closing factories. We've seen rising inflation. We've seen the cost of housing so high that most Americans can't afford to buy a home right now. President Trump is taking this economy in a different direction. He ran on that, he promised it, and now he's delivering. And yes, this is a big change. I'm not going to shy away from it, but we needed a big change, Lawrence. We cannot keep going down the Joe Biden globalist pathway where we have $2 trillion of peacetime debt and deficits. We have manufacturing disappearing. That is not working for Americans. We've got to take this country in a different direction.
Mr. Vice President, there does seem to be a disconnect. You see Wall Street in the media and the markets, and they're freaking out right now.
Yep.
But then I look at those workers that were in the Rose Garden yesterday, and they're celebrating. I think about all the diners that I've done across the country, and all these businesses saying, we've lost manufacturing here, and they're celebrating the move. What is the disconnect between the market and the people, those workers that are cheering this on right now?
Well, I think on one hand...
And guys, I want to show you this real quick because I'm telling you, everything that they say is a lie. They're trying to blame everything that's wrong with America on Trump now. And I want you to see this chart. Dianne Feinstein, 60 years in government. Chuck Schumer, 45 years. Maxine Waters, 47 years. Patrick Lee, 54. Joe Biden, 51. Nancy Pelosi, 33. Trump's been in office, been in government for 3 years. Now you tell me we're $36 trillion in debt. We have a manufacturing crisis in America. We have we are literally losing our butt every single year when it comes to the trade deficit. But how is it Trump's fault? Why is they're all trying to blame Trump right now when these people have been in government for almost the last half century? This is the corruption they don't want you to see. This is the actual data they don't want you to see. So I don't want to hear it from any of these Democrats that Trump is messing this up. No, they created this problem.
Frankly, a lot of people have gotten rich from American jobs moving overseas, but American workers have not gotten rich. And frankly, American companies have not gotten wealthy from the increasing growth of foreign competitors manufacturing overseas. They, as the president says, Lawrence, these foreign companies, they charge us ridiculous tariffs. They engage in a lot of non-tariff practices like currency manipulation. That has been awful for Main Street in the United States of America. It's meant those diners, their customers, don't have jobs anymore. It meant those great steel mills, those great auto plants have closed down and their workers have been laid off. What I saw yesterday in the Rose Garden was incredible enthusiasm because a lot of those workers, they've been working hard for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, young and old, were in the Rose Garden yesterday. They've never had a president who stood up for their jobs and stood up for American prosperity. They finally see something has shifted. There were Democrats out there, Republicans. There were union and non-union workers alike. They know this is a big change, but we need a big change in this country because what we've done, what we did under the Biden administration, it just wasn't working.
So, Mr. Vice President, I know a lot of MAGA folks, a lot of Americans that are cheering the president on, especially when he takes it to other countries.
Sure.
They feel like we've been screwed for a long time.
Yep.
But I also know people that come from our background, they're living paycheck to paycheck.
Of course.
And they want to do the patriotic duty of taking it to these other countries, but it's going to hit them a little bit, they feel. What can you tell the American people that they just can't afford an extra $3 here and there?
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm telling you, I'm going to bring you the breaking news as it happens, as it's popping up. Look at this from the leading report. Possible explosive device reportedly near the White House. Secret Service and D.C. police investigating. A possibly explosive device is near the White House. Guys, they don't want this. They don't want Trump. And I don't doubt that people are still trying to take him out. But this right here, this happening, this is so important why Trump has to be protected. Because he is literally rocking this entire world. And if we don't protect him, somebody's going to try to take him out.
about the government making up the difference from that? Will costs go up at some point? Will this just be temporary? Are we talking 3 months or 6 months?
Well, we certainly hear, and I appreciate, how I grew up.
I know.
I grew up in a family that often did live paycheck to paycheck, and we know a lot of Americans are worried. So we are fighting very hard to bring prices down. We're going to have the biggest deregulation in the history of this country. We're doing a lot of things and already have done a lot of things to lower the cost of energy. You heard the president mention this yesterday. Eggs, when we came in, were at a 10-year high, and all of a sudden they've dropped 60% just in the 2 months of the Trump administration.
Wow.
What I'd ask folks to appreciate here is that we are not going to fix things overnight.
Yeah.
Joe Biden left us, this is not an exaggeration, Lawrence, with the largest peacetime debt and deficit in the history of the United States of America, with sky-high interest rates. You don't fix that stuff overnight. We know people are struggling. We're fighting as quickly as we can to fix what was left to us, but it's not going to happen immediately. But we really do believe that if we pursue the right deregulation, we pursue those energy cost-reducing policies, yes, people are going to see it in their pocketbook. They're also going to benefit from the fact that foreign countries can't take advantage of us anymore. That means their jobs are going to be more secure.
I don't think you can talk about this, the tariffs, and not talk about the tax cuts as well that we're expecting. Is this to offset some of the cuts that we plan on expecting? Will this be a permanent measure, or are we thinking when it comes to the scoring of this bill, we're going to be able to get cuts as a result of this?
I wouldn't think of tax cuts as a way to offset the tariffs. Here's the way that I think about it is, again, for 40 years, we've had an economy that rewards people who ship American jobs overseas and raises taxes on American workers, and we're flipping that on its head. We're going to cut taxes for American workers and for American companies that build here. We're going to make it harder to ship American jobs overseas. It's a total shift in the way that we've done economic policy in the United States of America, but it was necessary. So, yeah, we're going to cut your taxes. You're going to have more money in your pocket, and that's, of course, going to help you deal with the cost of inflation, but that's not about offsetting the tariffs. They work together. We want to penalize people for shipping our jobs overseas. We want to reward hardworking Americans. It's all part of the same policy.
I want to get to some other news because there were some reports that came out that Elon Musk is leaving. Now, of course, the president had already said he was only going to be here for a temporary basis.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Doge will continue after Elon Musk. Will he still be an advisor to you and the president? I know y'all have a great relationship. Tell us about it.
Well, first of all, that report I saw was total fake news. Elon came in and we said, we need you to make government more efficient. We need you to shrink the incredible, vast bureaucracy that thwarts the will of the American people, but also costs way too much money. And we said that's going to take about 6 months. And that's what Elon signed up for. But of course, he's going to continue to be an advisor. And by the way, the work of Doge is not even close to done. The work of Elon is not even close to done. You look at all of the fraudulent grants that they found. You look at people who are 150 years old, who are fraudulently collecting Social Security payments. You see our Social Security system, 40% of the people who are calling in are actually committing fraud. That means the 60% who need their Social Security checks are waiting in line. Doge has got a lot of work to do. And yeah, that work's going to continue after Elon leaves. But fundamentally, Elon is going to remain a friend and an advisor of both me and the president, and he's done a lot of good things. People don't realize how vast and uncontrolled the bureaucracy was. We've started to chip away at it, but there's a lot of work to do. It's not going to happen all in 6 months. It's going to take a long and committed effort.
Tell us about the news when it comes to TikTok. It looks like
the amount of stuff that is coming out, and I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, guys, and there's no filter anymore. There's no filter with the Democrats on what they think about Americans, what they think about Trump, his followers, MAGA. Remember, Biden even came out and said that half the country was garbage. But listen to this. This is the very people that are supposed to be trying to help lead us and guide us, even when it comes to nutrition, that it is 100%. We're not living in the same reality, guys. This is so mind-blowing what you're about to see. This is a USDA Nutrition Guideline Committee member.
If you diet, you lose weight, right?
The number one cause of obesity is genetics. That means if you are born to parents that have obesity, you have a 50 to 85% likelihood of having the disease yourself, even with optimal diet, exercise, sleep management, stress management. So when people see families that have obesity, the assumption is, what are they feeding those kids?
So I'm telling you guys, like, I pulled this up for comedy, but it's hilarious that she says, doesn't matter if you diet, doesn't matter what you eat, it's all genetics. No. This is so false right now, guys. And again, like right now, unfortunately, the House is on a little mini vacation because Mike Johnson couldn't hold it together and they decided just to send everybody home. But thank God we still have people that are fighting for putting America first in the Senate. Listen to this.
Outrageous behavior from federal employees, and reminds me of my favorite one. This person was second in charge at the EPA in the Obama administration. I can't remember his name. He went to jail eventually, but for about a decade, he was telling his superiors at work, well, I'll be missing a lot of work and I won't be here a lot of times because, I also work for the CIA. And I didn't realize people worked for the EPA and the CIA at the same time, but nobody ever called the CIA to ask him if he worked there. He did this for a decade. In the end, I think he owed over $1 million that he had to pay back in salary, and I think he went to jail. But it went on for a decade, and he just simply told people. But we had a shutdown, and during the shutdown, they actually did some of the things you're supposed to do. They actually looked at his worksheet, and he hadn't been there in 6 months, and they're like, oh, yeah, he works for the CIA. Well, has anybody ever called the CIA? I called and they'd never heard of him. So the outrageous stuff goes on, and, I'm glad we're shaking it up. I'm glad we're doing this. But I guess one of the things I wanted to point out is...
Guys, you remember whenever Trump said, hey, and Elon Musk, we just want to send an email and have people respond. Because of things like this person literally stole $1 million from the taxpayers because he said, oh, I have 2 jobs. I work for the CIA, this and this. There's so much of that happening, and there's so much corruption that's why the Democrats lost it whenever Elon Musk was just reply to the email that we sent you with 5 things that you did last week. That's all we're asking for. We know there's corruption, guys, and it gets even worse.
That, Mr. Giuliani, you've worked most of your career, if not all your career, for the federal government, so... do you have a preconceived notion that federal employees are all bad?
Senator, thanks for the question, and I'm here to assure you I don't work for the CIA. But I'm in my 20s, to reference Senator Moreno a little earlier. No, I don't have a preconceived notion that all
and
federal
the same
employees
question for Mr. Cooper. Do you have a preconceived notion?
No, I don't. And again, as we've discussed, look, this is exactly why a system of accountability matters. We want the very best people to show up every day and do their best, and we should have an environment that enables that.
But it goes back to the question, the minority made this point that, well, people who are being fired have just been promoted. But if you were running a business, let's say not the government, a business, and it were losing $2 trillion a year, maybe some good people would have to be let go, right? I mean, in order to right the ship, you have to let go some people. So I don't think it's in...
Guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button for us, thank you so much for your support. This is so good what we're hearing now.
It's a conviction of you as a person or the Trump administration if some people who got a promotion. Plus, there is a question, were too many people being promoted or were people being promoted to try to protect them from being fired? But it isn't, I think, a accurate assumption to say, oh, we hate all the federal employees. I'm a federal employee. There are good people who work for the federal government. And but even some good people will have to probably let go in downsizing of things. And, I just think it's important that people not go away with the message that we're all Republicans or against all federal employees. We have many good federal employees here that work for us, and that have worked in government. So I think that's not true. With regard to like the concept of collective bargaining, though, we have at times through our history thought that people who provide like for the military or our security, we won't have collective bargaining there because we can't have soldiers going on strike. We've had the same sort of thought with air traffic controllers, and Reagan fired them famously at one time because he said you can't just have them walk off the job. So while collective bargaining is not something I'm opposed to, in fact, I think there's some areas of our economy I'd like to see more collective bargaining for consumers on drug prices, things like that. There's ways that collectively we can drive prices down or drive wages up, if that may be. but it doesn't mean we need to have collective bargaining everywhere, the right to strike, and you have to be careful. For many, many decades, for most of the history of the country, you didn't have unions in government, and the reasoning was that government was essential. You had to have them, so you can't have government go on strike. You can't have Congress go on strike and not show up. You can't have our employees show up. And so all of our employees, as Mr. Ewan said, are at will. One of the things I've tried to do is see if there are any ways we can nibble around the corners. And I've always thought of this bill as a small bill with large sort of expectations. We call it bonuses for cost cutters. And what we try to do is take the incentives that you have in private business where you get rewarded if your company makes more money. It's hard to tell if the government makes more money, but if you could cut costs, government loses less money, and then reward those people individually. There is a little bit of this, but there isn't quite enough of it. So we have a bill called bonuses for cost cutters to expand it. We've occasionally gotten some bipartisan support. Often, though, the debate runs this way, that they say, well, that's fine. We'll give the bonus to the employee. If you're in charge of a $12 million budget and you save $1 million, we'll give you $10,000. I think that's a great idea. But they want the $1 million to still be spent. And my whole point is, if you save $1 million, let's send it back to the Treasury, which we'll get back into this debate over impoundment. We're not going to solve that today, but ultimately it's going to have to be solved. And in the meantime, as I've told you both privately and everybody who will listen, we hope the administration will send us back a rescission package. It's a special vote. It's a simple majority. Everybody talks about the budget reconciliation, all these things we can do. That's true. There's also something called rescission that comes out of the Impoundment Act, and it's a simple majority way to cut money. The president is very popular. He won a well-deserved election, and I hope the president will use his political capital to come to us and say, $2 trillion in debt. The way we get rid of it is, why don't you accept this money back? Take it back.
Yes.
And once we do, it'll send this message. The public's behind him. The public, frankly, mostly is behind the, not spending $2 million doing sex changes in Guatemala, not spending $3 million on girl-centric climate change, not spending $4 million on social media influencers in Ukraine. The public is with us on this. But I've been advocating to have it sent back, have it sent back through rescission so it's voted on by Congress and it has some permanence.
Senator, can I just quickly respond
guys,
on?
And let me tell you this. Remember how I told you in the beginning, Trump is weeding out the people that are against his agenda. So we just heard that from Canada people themselves, that they're ready to pull back on the tariffs that they have on the American people if United States will do it. And Trump's like, yeah, if you pull yours back, we'll pull ours back. Let's have some fair trade, right? That makes a lot of sense. Probably think that's good for both sides of the party. So this just broke in the Senate, guys. The Senate voted 51-48 to pass a resolution blocking Trump's Canadian tariffs from taking effect. 4 Republicans voted with the Democrats to stop Trump. We've got Susan Collins, Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul, Lisa Murkowski. We show everything, guys. We show everything on this channel. Why? Because it matters. It doesn't matter what you say, it matters what you do. Trump has so many countries on the run right now, including Canada, to hold them accountable for taking advantage of us in the huge trade deficit that we currently have. And now you have 4 Republicans that side with Democrats to fight the Trump agenda, the America First agenda, the putting Americans first for the first time in a long time when it comes to our terror policy agenda. This is what Trump has been planning to do. It's not about what you say, it's about what you do. Because I'm telling you this, guys, the more that we get into this, we are finding there's so many corrupt politicians on both sides of the aisle that are doing this, and whenever the vote comes up, they always go with the Democrats. I want to say thank you so much. What's new for the super chat? Let's go. Said anything is better than Kamala Biden. God showed mercy on America, saving Trump from the bullet. Bam, right there. Where he's sticking his hand up right there. That painting, love it. Y'all show what's new, some love in the chat. As well as Mr. Tracy J. Norby, who said, I've never had faith in these Democrats since John F. Kennedy was in office. He and his brother did one heck of a nice job saving and reviving America. The Democrats are only power and money hungry to controlling everything and people they can. 100%. As soon as their pockets get lined up, that's whenever they start flipping. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat, as well as Della Cole some love in the chat, and Margaret, hola, let's go. I love the GIF. Y'all show Margaret and them some love in the chat. Because, guys, the things are coming out. Like, what you're about to see next, everybody said. Everybody on the rights agreed this. But now, since the Democrats are just losing so much, now it's okay to just dump on all the past Democratic leaders. Look at this.
The media covered up the biggest scandal in presidential history, and now they're cashing in on it. For 4 years, we were told Biden was sharp as a tack, and any evidence that proved otherwise was a cheap fake. But now that the Democrats lost and the dust settled, reporters are selling off all their dirt in brand new books. Biden's secrets are coming at us like a fire hose. Today, we're finding out Biden's right-hand man, Ron Klain, told author Chris Whipple that Joe was mentally and physically shot. Klain helped Biden prepare for that debate, and what he saw scared him. Klain was startled. He'd never seen Biden so exhausted and out of it. Biden was unaware of what was happening in his own campaign. Halfway through the session, the president excused himself and went off to sit by the pool. Biden didn't have anything to campaign on, so he came up with a strategy. Look confused while Trump was talking, so voters would, quote, understand that Trump was an idiot. Klain told Biden, sir, when you look perplexed, people just think you're perplexed. And this is our problem in this race. They kept trying to get Biden to focus, but all he could think about was NATO. Klain wondered, half seriously, if Biden thought he was president of NATO instead of the United States. He just became very enraptured with being head of NATO. And during the practice rounds, Biden was gassed. The first scheduled to last 90 minutes, but Klain called it off after 45. The president's voice was shot, and so was his grasp of the subject. He had nothing to say about his agenda for a second term. 25 minutes into the second mock debate, the president was done for the day. I'm just too tired to continue, and I'm afraid I'm losing my voice here and feel bad, he said. I just need some sleep. I'll be fine tomorrow.
Wow.
Klain saw that Biden was fatigued, befuddled, and disengaged, and he knew the debate would be a national disaster. And after Biden bombed, his family was furious. His sister, Silent Val, was so angry she practically was incoherent. One of Biden's close friends said, what the F happened to this guy? Everyone in Biden's orbit knew Joe was cooked, but publicly, Klain said Biden's functioning perfectly.
I don't deny that it was a bad debate performance, but that's different than whether or not the president is up to the job. He's clearly up to the job. He's doing it every day. He's doing it successfully.
Biden's so fit to be president, he decided not to run again. But his team wasn't bothered right before Joe dropped out. His staffers were at the campaign headquarters in Delaware getting drunk and singing karaoke. Biden had COVID at the time. He was coughing up a lung while his team was belting out Chumbawamba. Joe got knocked down, and he never got up again. Biden's few remaining Hollywood friends called Clooney to kill his hit piece, but it was too late. Clooney took the kill shot. Joe's advisor called it a drone strike at Biden's front door. The media is acting like this is all business as usual, but there's nothing normal about what happened the last 4 years. We didn't have a president, and everyone covered it up until they had the chance to sell a book. Biden held the nuclear football, turbocharged inflation, opened the border, and let 2 wars kick off. And now they're telling us he was too exhausted to function? The entire Biden presidency and the people who orchestrated it need to be investigated. Biden was the worst president of all time, and he wasn't even the president.
Nope.
There needs to be consequences for the people who covered it up. A commission, a special counsel, something, anything. A good place to start? Releasing the tapes from Biden's interviews with special counsel Robert Hur. That'll rip the mask right off the Democrats' sick act. Dennis Quaid, my friend and actor. All right, Dennis, I mean, he wasn't president. I mean, and now everyone's writing books that, oh, yeah, he wasn't really president, and we covered it up. What's that about?
Yeah, well, I don't know. This is the staff that I guess was really running the country while all this was going on, and now doesn't want to take the blame for anything, I guess. But they're kind of confessing in a way, because everybody said he was in fine shape at the time.
What do you think needs to happen to these people? I mean, this is a hoax of the highest order, a fraud, in fact. And now it explains
they're going to make their money
everything.
off the books. Yeah, they're going to make their money off the books. And, you know, in the debate, too, I mean, going back at that, to have Trump look like he was confused, you know, it comes down to the same kind of Democratic strategy where what they accuse the other side of, that's what they're guilty of looking perplexed and being perplexed.
Yeah, they said Trump was like mentally ill. And meanwhile, Joe was falling asleep halfway through debate prep.
Yeah, but he did say Build Back Better.
That's right. And then he said, we killed Medicaid.
Yeah, yes, we killed it. You bet your life you killed it.
The comparison to Reagan, people do make
age
a
bash
comparison
here at all either.
Let me ask you, because you played Reagan in this great film. People compare, you know, they say Reagan was also, they said he had early onset Alzheimer's and people helped him be president. Do you see any similarities? I don't really see it with Biden.
No, Reagan was in charge of his faculties, and it didn't really set on until a few years after he was in the White House. I mean, this is a man, you know, who was in Red Square in the last year of his presidency, Reagan, you know, with Gorbachev, arm in arm, and it was like a victory celebration of the Cold War. To bring that off, you have to have control of your faculties.
Yeah, you sure do. I heard you're in a new movie, Happy Place. You play a Happy Face. You play a serial
Guys,
killer.
let me tell you this. I just thought of this time whenever Biden spoke, and I love having my archives, guys. I love having the archives go in and pull these clips for you. Listen to this, because this is not in charge of your faculties.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America. Made in America. Let me start off with 2 words.
2 words.
Made in America.
America. Guys, this guy wasn't the president. He was not the president. We had a shadow government, and it blows my mind that not enough people are upset about it. Not enough people are asking the questions about it. Not enough people are concerned that for 4 years, we had somebody who wasn't even in charge, who couldn't even hold himself in a debate. All this happened in the greatest country of the world, and then they want to say that we're just going to move on. Makes no sense. Italian Prime Minister came out. Meloni says it's not the best idea to respond to President Trump's tariffs with our own tariffs. Right. Everybody get in check. We're not playing these games anymore. Like, this is, like, we're living in the time and day now, guys, where no more. We're not being taken advantage of anymore. Mr. Burns, thank you so much for gifting 5 TrueLife News memberships. Let's go. Y'all show Mr. Burns some love in the chat, as well as Lay Lewis for the super chat. Said President Trump is our massive scarecrow for everyone's garden. Dems need to get over it. 100%. Thank you so much, Della Cole, for the super chat. Said replace Mike Johnson with Jim Jordan. And Kathy L, who said thank you, Joel, for everything you bring us and giving back to our communities. You're the only channel that does that. Hey, and we want to do it even more, guys. We are here to give back and make a difference. Y'all show Kathy, Della, Lay, and Mr. Burns some love in the chat. Want to say, guys, the man himself, the guy who is actually executing all these changes, you're about to hear from, because this matters. It's hearing from a lot of different people going through the pipelines. No, this is what matters. Check this out.
Howard Lutnick is with us. All right, what are we missing here? And I'm going to scroll all these countries that have been abusing and stealing from us, as far as I'm concerned, including allied countries for years. And why have we let them get away with this for so long? Why are people saying that, oh, this is terrible, that we're saying you can have free and fair trade, or if you're going to put tariffs on us, we'll put them on you? How is that not fair?
It was just soft politicians. I mean, as President Trump said, it was the people in the Oval Office. I mean, the European Union won't take chicken from America. They won't take lobsters from America. They hate our beef because our beef is beautiful and theirs is weak. It's unbelievable. We can't sell corn to India. We can't sell rice to Asia. Why in the world do we let these people sell their cars? 94% of cars in Japan are made in Japan. They just block us. And finally, the man behind the Resolute desk, the man in the Oval Office, Donald Trump, is finally standing up for our farmers, our ranchers, and our manufacturers to let the world understand either they're buying our products or don't bother coming here unless you're paying for the right to come.
Boom.
All right, let me scroll something else, and that is, since Donald Trump began this pressure campaign and threatening tariffs, a lot of money has been pledged for investments in our country. It's been pledged by foreign countries, $1.5 trillion by the UAE, $1 trillion, for example, by Saudi Arabia. Hyundai, $20 billion, $500 billion over 4 years, a new factory Apple is going to build in Texas, and they're going to expand out other facilities around the country. We have a Taiwanese company, Nissan and Honda. We're going to build plants in Mexico. They're now building them here, and I can go on and on. So I added up to be over $4 trillion committed only because of the threat of tariffs. I got to imagine that a lot of these countries are not going to like the tariffs that go into effect tonight at midnight, and they're going to want to negotiate. You think I'm wrong?
No, they're going to want to negotiate. But these are the same people who have been ripping us off for all these years. Remember, the tariffs are only part of the issue. It's these non-tariff trade barriers where they just won't let you trade. They provide subsidies back, like they charge this VAT tax, right? And they always say, oh, it's not the VAT tax. You know what some of these countries do? They take that 20% tax and they give it back to their producers. So they crush our people. It's got to end, and what's going to happen is you're going to see the greatest renaissance of manufacturing in America. $4 trillion investing in America. That's going to create the most incredible set of jobs. Tradecraft is going to come back to America. People, our high school educated workforce is going to get trained to do robot mechanic, HVAC, but in high tech, fabs for semiconductors. I mean, the coolest jobs, the highest paying jobs, they're all coming to America, and Donald Trump is bringing them in because we're tired of having them built in Taiwan. We're tired of having it built in South Korea. It's time for these things to be built in America, and these jobs are coming home.
One last...
Guys, I love it. It's about time we put America first. Want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers. Guys, if you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family here on TrueLife News and subscribing to us so that we can serve you every day with the top news. We want to bust our butts for you every single day, Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day, 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, always bringing the breaking news of what's going on. And just want to say thank you to everybody that has supported our channel. Remember, once a month, on the 22nd of every single month, we do a huge live on-stream donation to charity whenever you give a super chat, whenever you're a member of the channel. Thus far, we have given over $31,000 to local charities, guys, because of your support. This channel is more than just reporting the news. We are here to bring the truth and to show you that we want to bring positive change in this world. And that is what we're all about. And I just can't thank everybody enough who supports us. I want to give some love to the people that have given some super chats. If you want to be a member, though, the link is in the description to join. Want to say thank you so much, Angela Broom, for the super chat. Michael Roberts, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, Jim Arnold, Marilee Williams, G.L. Palfreyman, Joanne Smith, April Green, What's New, Della Cole, Margaret Ola, Mr. Burns, Lay Lewis, Kathy L. Guys, y'all show them some love in the chat. We're so excited. I again want to show some love to Woodbury Hill Studio, who painted this for the channel as a gift to us. It's a real painting, guys. Whenever Trump raised his hand after he was almost assassinated, just want to say thank you to everybody who supports us for sharing these videos. If you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, we appreciate your support. We're here to serve you. We love you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.